came on the show this week, or last week.
Come on the show, you fire and flow.
And then he was absolutely the best player on the football field yesterday.
This guy was awesome, though.
Except for this guy.
Bam, 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 bam.
Jonathan Taylor runs like a Wisconsin running back. Does that make sense?
Yes,
It makes perfect sense.
It's like Melvin Gordon.
Rondane, who was it?
Monte Ball.
Yes. Monte Ball.
Monty Ball.
Bennett.
Michael Bennett, yep.
Trace, how about these Colts?
These Colts are great, and there it is. Kerry Willis, Tony Dungy was so fired up in the NBC show last night. Same hometown as Tony Dungy, and the Colts are going to take this one back to Indy with a victory going into Vegas. Rivers owns the Raiders, owned them last night. Raiders 7-6. Might be
happy for Rivers,
next
man.
year.
Let's hear from Frank Reich.
Let's hear from the coach of the winning team, Frank Reich.
We have the personnel up front in our offensive line, in our backs, in our tight ends, to be dominant in the run game. And we have the personnel, outside and at quarterback, to be dominant in the pass game and to be really good. And that's what we keep saying. That Chris and I talk about this a lot. I just don't feel like there's a weakness on the team. We're good in all three phases. We're good within each phase at things, but we still have to play good football. I mean, we have to play good football or we'll get beat. So, but we got the right players, and we just got to keep finding ways to get better.
Raiders needed a win against these Colts to move into the AFC playoff picture. They're one game behind the Dolphins for the final playoff spot with a Week 16 showdown. Guys, Raiders also fired their defensive coordinator, we should mention, Paul Gunther, following that Colts win. What stood out to you, Nate, in this game? You're talking in the highlight about Phillip Rivers.
I am. It seems like every few weeks I bring up Phillip Rivers' past, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I can trust him. I need to slap myself in the face. Phillip Rivers is playing well. He's just playing well. And I can't doubt a guy when he's throwing the ball accurately, not turning the ball over. You see that 2 TDs, 19 for 28. And he's moving the ball around quite a bit. T.Y. Hilton is a beast. I joke about it. You come on the show, you find your flow. But I remember talking to T.Y. Hilton during the commercial break, and I'm like, how are you feeling? He said, I'm feeling better than I've ever felt at this point in the season. And for T.Y. Hilton, that's a huge thing, because what happens usually around this time of the season, T.Y.'s banged up. He's limping on the sideline. He's trying to figure out if he can go into each week at 75%. Right now, they have their true number one, complementary pieces, and their run game is there. Jonathan Taylor, fantastic. Naeem Hines, fantastic. They're playing good, and I'm not going to doubt them no more. And just for what it's worth, I mean, it would be a great story if Phillip Rivers won a Super Bowl, a guy that really could use that to solidify what I already think is a Hall of Fame career. But if he get that ring, he's slamming the door on all of the doubters.
Rivers winning the Super Bowl, a great story. Raiders winning a playoff game, a fairy tale.
Oh.
I'm dry heaving over here about the Raiders. Dry. It's so classic. Like, it is perfect Las Vegas symmetry. You get excited.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Vegas. You know what? Let's go for 4 nights. Let's go for 5 nights.
No.
No sleep.
And then, like, you wake up after the second night, you're like,
48-hour rule.
Please, can we get on an earlier flight? Can we do... We reached that point with Las Vegas where you're like, you're dehydrated, you're broke, you have a headache, you didn't hook up last night. You're like, can we go home? I want off. I want off.
Worse off, you did hook up.
Yeah, or you did. I'm just very frustrated because we were at the table, we're getting comped, and we're hooking up with everybody. Like, it was a party like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then, like, that terrible Falcons game, that inside job by which they won the Jets game. And then, like, this. I think this was the biggest Raiders game in, like, 4 years. And they, 44-27, like, get me on my boarding group C, give me my air sickness bag, and, like, some ginger ale, and just get me the hell home. I'm very disappointed.
And they were up.
Just a little bread to soak it up. Just some bread.
I was up too, and then I doubled down.
And then
He's right. Aguilar has that touchdown. You're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
14-10. Here come the Raiders.
It's always the tease before the letdown.
It was the Kenny Moore pick, which we didn't even show in the highlight. That was what really turned
Derek Carr threw a big pick. Really? You don't say?
I know.
Wow.
I know. Their offensive line in Indianapolis is so good that it's kind of like this scary X factor coming to the playoffs, because we've seen them bully around the Chiefs' defensive line last year in the regular season. And yesterday, it was like, all right, this thing's going back and forth. Let's just lean on Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly, and let's just go win this game. And Jonathan Taylor was fantastic. We wonder about this Colts running game. Like, who's it going to be when it matters? Does it matter? As long as they just put up the yards, even if it's a collective effort with him and Hines and whoever else.
They got a guy.
They have the running game, and I'll tell you, Nelson and Kelly are not going to get a lot of talk on NFL Network or ESPN this week. They absolutely mauled that Raiders defensive line. If you're looking at the offensive line right here, it was so one-sided.
Peter, especially Kelly. It's always about Nelson. Give Kelly a minute.
Kelly, he's great. He's also a first-round pick, and he's been the guy for a long time there. And the two of them were just absolutely pushing back the Raiders defensive line 5 yards. I'm thinking long-term, if you're the Colts, like, it's great to beat the Raiders, and we're going to give them their bouquet for that. Can you beat the Chiefs? And I look at a lot of these teams in the AFC, and I'm like, no, they can't beat the Chiefs.
Can you beat the Bills?
Colts can, Trey.
The Colts can.
They have.
Because they can dominate the trenches and just control the ball and just grind it out. And I think their running game and what Frank Reich said was all three facets of the game are pretty on point.
Phillip Rivers was hit once yesterday, right? Raiders not generating enough pressure at all, nothing on Phillip Rivers. I mean, he has that clean pocket. He's going to throw and have success. I think, and I said we've had 19 conversations at this breakfast table on my home cam, one of the 19 different ones I've had over the past year. Who's the team that the Chiefs don't want to face? Who is going to keep them up? And I've said it's Indy for that reason. They can win on both sides of the ball. And I also like, and it kind of Shregs, you touched on it, the resiliency of this team, right? They were down. They were down 14-10, and then they went off in, 34-6? They outscored them after that point and never turned around. That's what you need if you want to take on the Chiefs.
And think about, to Peter's point, you have Phillip Rivers at this age. He is last in the NFL at leaving the pocket, yet he is protected the most in the pocket. And that last play that you just saw in the highlights when talking about the running backs, that was a direct snap to Nyheim Hines. He hands it off to Taylor.
Yeah.
Now, they have creativity, I feel like, that they're saving in their pocket.
Different ways.
Because when they face the Chiefs, they're going to have to be a little non-traditional. And Frank Reich, he got some of that stuff, and he's waiting.
What is this when they face the Chiefs? I mean, look, they got to get to the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
Smashed by the Titans 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It's a good story. I love Reich, everything. Like,
You saying just chill out? Is that what you're saying?
No. Great win. Huge win. Very good team. But the AFC has some dogs in it.
You ain't lying.
We're trying to figure out if they're one or not. I'm not sure yet.
I have some news you might be disappointed about, Kyle. It appears that Gmail is back up.
Ah, screw it. I'm never going back.
You're never going back.
It's dead to me.
The reckless